Hello everybody, welcome back to Playing God, the Art of Gaming. Tori here this week to finish what we started last week. Alright, so I'm about to explain to you what it's like to collaborate. Well, instead of spending a billion years on the intro, I think we should just get right into it. So, over the course of the week, Steph dropped me her unfinished PSD containing her drawing of Shay from Broken Age, and really, the only thing she told me was, have fun! I was supposed to take this drawing, add in Vella, and make them work together somehow. So I'm going to show you exactly what I decided to do in order to make these characters look like it's one consecutive image in the end. Firstly, I drew this one on the computer, so there was no way that I could do a sketch and bring it in and add in another picture. So I just expanded the canvas, looked up to see what Vella looked like. It's pretty important that the style looks pretty uniform to what Steph decided to do, and she decided to draw Shay basically in the way that is in the actual game. So I just decided to do roughly the same thing with Vella, and because they exist in two separate worlds really, it's really easy to draw them next to each other and not really have them interacting and have it make sense still. It looks and seems completely natural. Maybe we'll tackle something harder in the future where we have characters who are actually interacting in the same ground plane, with one of them drawn from either of us, but for now, this was a fairly easy way to do it and still have a collaborative effort and show you guys what it's like to work with other people and deal around their style and make yours look as uniform as possible. So my sketch was basically just me mimicking the style of the game the way Steph did, and then I just went straight into lines using the same technique I usually use. The style of Broken Age is done really simplistic, it's easy to draw on the computer. Most of the shapes are just really simple, like for instance Vella's head is just like a circle, and you just go in and sketch the shapes that you see, and then you fill in the details on a next layer, and then the lines on a layer after that. That's the cleanup. I then did flats. I didn't do anything new or interesting. I just filled in each layer with a spot in the magic wand tool. I just dropped the colors where they belong. That's really all there is to it. After that, I did some shading. For this round of shading, in order to make it harmonious with Steph's shading style, I just shaded as closely to the original reference as possible. I grabbed colors directly from the reference, and I brushed them on about as relevant to a light source as I usually do. And then I selected the character, filled in the selection with a color so that I could use the dark layer of color to peel out the highlights with the watercolor brush on transparency. It's important to note that when I shade, I almost always use exclusively the watercolor brush. It's my favorite way to shade. I think that the blending that it does makes it look nice and as a whole. I signed my portion and then moved on to the background, which is definitely the most intensive thing that we did this week, because we actually, you know, added a background. So anyway, moving right along. So this week we did something a little bit different. Steph and I are both really fond of transparencies as part of the image, so I didn't fill up the entire scene with a background. What I did is I drew a random shape in the background and then I filled it in with a color, and I moved it around so that it looked nice with pieces of the characters that would still be popped out from the image a little bit. And then I grabbed the background with a selection tool and I filled in each side so that it looked like it was a split scene, a split screen. So in the end of Broken Age, you see the main protagonist separated by a split screen, and they both have really simple backgrounds behind them. I figured that it would be something interesting and a lot more, something a lot better to do instead of doing dots, that I could try and mimic the backgrounds that they are given at the end of each of their game. So what I did is I took the reference off the internet and I went forth and I made a ground plane with a selection tool, and on a layer ahead of it, I drew bricks, basically just the general shape initially, and then I added in what was a darker color on top of it so it looked like they were shaded and had a little bit of form. You just sketch the shape of the bricks roughly, shading on top of them according to the light source so that they look like they're straight up, you know, they aren't just straight up, you know, bricks. Using the colors I found from them online, I took the sandy color and filled it in on the bottom to fill out Shay's side, and then I took a little bit of a darker color on the bottom to fill out Vella's side. And then utilizing selections, I was able to make it look like the backgrounds were roughly accurate for each character. And when I felt like it was finished, I brought it into Photoshop and saved it as a PNG as I usually do. Well, that really just about sums it up for Vella and Shay from Broken Age. Collabs can be really hard, but they're fairly rewarding when you see the final product come together and it ends up working pretty well together. This has been Tori, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice morning, night, evening, afternoon, 3 a.m., whatever. I don't judge. Bye!